Hello! What's up, chat? How was the weekends? We got the Paint Liquor, Tim, and Shard in chat. What's up, guys? Also, look at the thing that I'm going to be painting. We're going to have some fun. We gonna have some fun. Jeez, Shard, I see how it is. I come in here looking for a good time, and then, oops, they're calling me the bus tosser now. They're calling me the bus tosser now. I am sad.
Hi.
Hi.
How we doing?
We're doing good.
Good?
Yeah.
Like good?
Yeah, like good. I got a new shower head this weekend. Oh my gosh, did I tell you? My shower exploded on Saturday.
Like with you in it?
Yeah.
You look okay.
Yeah. My bathroom didn't.
Like the pipe burst?
No, just the shower head exploded. So it
Exploded is a fairly dramatic word.
Yeah, but it's real fun.
Oh, like showerhead shrapnel is the last thing I need when I'm naked and wet.
I mean, to be fair, exploded is a pretty fair approximation of what happened. Because I turned on the shower, and it literally just sprayed water into my entire bathroom. So that was fun.
So the showerhead came off.
Yeah, it was still dangling there.
It was still dangling there.
But yes.
Welcome to the effects of hard water.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, what the heck?
Lion created what's going on.
It literally just like sheared off. It was really bizarre.
Thespian, welcome back. Loving some bold pyro red. Love it.
Heck yeah. What is up, everybody?
Shard says here to see Baby J start the non-metallic metal Titan. So I got word that the non-metallic metal Titan model is delayed a bit.
Uh-oh.
So I probably won't get it until next week.
Were you supposed to get it this week?
Yeah.
I guess that was a stupid question. Now that I think about it.
Paint Liquor says a non-game mini from Baby J. It's a thing.
Yeah, I've done one before. Called the Morgan. Technically...
Well, I'll ask for a friend. No, really. If you leave the Pro-Chrome Metallics on a wet palette overnight, could they separate? Too much water, perhaps? Too much water, sure.
Yeah. Which is usually what happens.
You just stir them back together, though. The problem is now you've introduced a lot of water. So the way a wet palette works is all that water that's introduced to them draws up from underneath, and it creates the paint bubble wants to not have that water part of it, so it sits on top, but eventually it spreads, and so now you have water in the middle, paint on the outside. So less paint on the wet palette. Wet palette is not supposed to thin your paints. It's just supposed to keep them damp. And it's not technically made for liquid paints.
Yeah, it doesn't really work with liquid paints if you leave it overnight.
No, it's meant for paste watercolors, really.
Yeah.
More time for Baby J to anticipate and plan and figure it all out.
What am I planning now?
Baby J, what color non-metallic metal are you painting the Warhound Titan?
Pink.
Pink non-metallic metal is what we're going with, chat.
Yep.
Says pink.
With a side of plaid.
With a side of plaid. Oh, hey. He said it, chat. Plaid Warhound incoming. Sounds like the rest of the year is spent painting pink and plaid.
Yeah.
Gonna get boring on stream. Tim says, clip that.
Clip that.
I heard it. And I think my ears are even clean.
Think?
I say huh a lot, though, because I'm deaf in my left one, so it's not really a great... Pink with plaid trim sounds nice.
I was thinking plaid with pink trim.
Yeah. Plaid with pink non-metallic trim.
Mm-hmm.
Eric said, Little Potter says, wet palette. You mean Flavor Saver?
Nope. Not that one. That's what your beard's for, Potter.
Don't eat the paint!
That's what your beard's for, Potter.
So the Nova Open team told us we owe them artwork for a full-page ad in the Nova Open thing, the brochure. I'm like, let's just make a big black page that says, don't eat the paint. Thanks.
What did they say to that?
Oh, I don't care. We'll put in whatever we want.
Cool.
I said that to Gabe.
Oh.
Because Gabe will make the ad.
Yeah.
All right, now that I'm suitably chip greased with my fingers, time to paint.
Time to paint.
Time to get some chip grease
On Morgana?
on Morgana.
I can get behind this. Filled all these gaps with super glue earlier. I gotta go back in and I gotta clean up these scales. Good old prime. Figure out what exactly this model is gonna look like.
A big, large hot dog with mustard behind golden yellow. Do not eat the paint.
Do not eat the paint.
I love all the memes people are making on our don't eat the paint ad that show like our paint, like old pyro red as ketchup, golden yellow between two pieces of bread. Oh, it's so good. So good and so bad. Don't do it.
Yeah, it's like, it's hilarious, but also don't do it, guys.
I love that the community gets us.
Yeah. The response to Don't Eat the Paint is a pretty good indication that they're on board for our particular brand of gooberiness.
Gooberiness.
Yep.
I don't even know what you're talking about. A horrible thing to say. You're nerds, sir.
Okay. Why can't we be?
Because we live in a world of laws. I've had this conversation with you. We are not deranged fanatics.
Yeah, we are.
We're upstanding citizens.
Whoa, hold on now. You say that. Do you really mean it?
Law-abiding, upstanding citizens.
Wad Tomato N 20-month streak?
What did we deserve to? What did you guys do to deserve that punishment? Wait, so you're saying that you being here is punishment for us, Wad?
Keep thinking that, buddy. Yeah, keep thinking that.
We'll take it. We'll take that kind of punishment. We like having you around. You're pretty cool. I'm using this. I decided to use the same color on the purple that I used on the red. But you'll see me finger smudge it quite a bit more because that's how I'll get the mid-tone, is by just kind of dapping it on there and then hitting it with my finger real quick, and then I'll come right back after that and hit some of the brighter points. That way I don't have to mix any paint. Pink looks pretty good, so I'm gonna stick with that. Again, the big thing is make sure most of my paint is off of my brush by putting it on my thumb palette. So by the time I come over to the model, I'm not getting a lot of paint per pinprick anyway. Shard, finger licking good. Paint. Monument Hobbies, Pro Acryl, finger licking good. Wait.
Nope.
Shard, you did not pass the interview test for the marketing exec position.
Is there a waiting list or a pre-order available for the brushes?
No.
You can go onto the website and sign up for restock notifications.
We don't do pre-orders. We did one pre-order when we brought in the Journeyman Miniatures line, and we won't be doing it again. Not our style. Yeah, you can find them at some of our local hobby stores. Go on the FLGS link. If somebody could be so kind as to type that in chat, FLGS, you can look around at some of our partner stores, and every now and then you'll find that they have product you've been looking for. I know somebody recently found an old go bag. Well, that reminds me. I have a kind of a trip down memory lane box that I found at the house when moving some stuff out of the old place yesterday.
Oh, really?
That I was gonna grab and share.
Is it here?
Yeah, I brought it here.
Oh, cool. Basically, spending this time sort of resculpting the detail in these scales because some of that super glue erased a lot of it as I was trying to fill it.
Thanks, Mike.
Did the as best I could to maintain a lot of this detail in here, but it's there's some pretty large gaps that I was trying to get.
Where the scales go together?
Yeah.
Are you sure you cleared like the sprue connector underneath where she fits together?
Yes, sir. Did indeed. Yeah, a perfect connection. Because part of the problem is like there can be always a little bit of warpage when you're pulling parts out of molds, especially while they're still warm. So my guess is what happened is because this model has parts that connect in multiple places that all have to be seated just perfectly to get it to sit flush.
That's always a pain, yeah.
When it warps just, I mean, and then we're talking about just a little bit of warpage, because you're not going to get a lot of warpage with these kinds of molds, and they do a fantastic job of casting them, but there can always be a little bit of shift, and that little bit of shift will create a larger gap, because you either you make it seam on one side and then it won't seam on the other, so you have to pick one. So I figured this would be easy enough to fill and then go back in and and carve back out. The tricky part is it's all clear and gray resin, so it's really hard to see what that shape looks like. So I'm gonna have to kind of do my best until I prime it, and then once I prime it, I'll get a much better idea of what it all looks like. But my goal will probably be to end up just freehanding a lot of these scale details back in if there's not a lot of actual form there anymore.
Nice paint liquor. Yeah. Yeah, all the Mindworks stuff is so great. Good motion.
Oh yeah.
Very artistic sculpts.
I was picking this model, and I had like 4 that I was like, I could do any of these and it would be amazing. I think this one inspired me the most, so I was like, I'll just do this. And I thought doing scales would be really fun. There's a lot of like really interesting and simple detail on this model.
Because Baby J's psychotic.
But do scales? Yeah, they're not that bad. Paint liquor, you picked up a Morgana. That's awesome. Is awesome. One of the things you'll see me do a lot while I'm getting in here to kind of carve these little shapes out is I'm bracing the back of the blade against my thumb, and I'm using it as a way to apply extra pressure towards the front of the blade to dig in there and get nice precise cuts. It stops a lot of the blade from flexing when I would be doing it like this, because I don't have as much control. So putting my thumb in here, and it's safe to do it this way because my thumb is on the back of the knife. I'm not pressing towards me. The back of the knife here is not sharp, and I'm pushing away. But it allows you to really get in there and get some good control.
Remember, kids, always cut away from your thumb.
Yep. We don't want any people in chat missing a thumb. Or missing half a thumb because they chopped it off with a hobby knife. And not all of these have to be perfect. I just got to get enough of them on the bigger side of this, where the scales are really large, to really give the detail in there, and I can kind of fudge the rest of them with freehand, I think is my plan.
You cut your thumb off with a katana. Luckily, it was hanging there, so you just reattached it. That sounds horrible.
Yeah,
Why did you do that?
Yeah, that sounds not great.
I don't feel like that was what the katana was meant to be for. Were you doing it all like samurai style, in and out of the scabbard? And Cut your thumb off while you were holding the scabbard? Movie in it? Exactly what he's doing. Don't believe him if he says anything else. That's just the best story ever right there.
I was doing stupid movie things and cut my finger off.
Definitely.
I was chopping a bottle. Long story.
Right.
No.
Sure you were.
Tim,
what you were doing is you were holding the scabbard and you were like yanked it out of the scabbard, and you had your grip on the scabbard like you would normally when you yanked it out. You had the blade the wrong way or something and chopped your thumb off. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I know Tim's life better than he knows his own. He was in so much pain he can't even remember what really happened, but I was there. And I'm here to tell you, chat, it was silly. We told him, Tim, settle down, Tim.
Listen to this, Tim.
Tim, I know you stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night, but maybe you need a little bit more practice with this before going full movie style.
Who doesn't he try and throw under the bus? Who's throwing who under the bus?
You can't be thrown under the bus if you chopped your finger off with a katana, dude. There's stories there, and we're making stories.
Yeah.
I'm a historian and an author. I am not throwing anybody.
I am a baby J.
There was no pain. It was clean cut.
I reserve the right to...
That's not how pain works, by the way.
throw people under the bus at my leisure. So, you best beware, sir. Let's see how good or bad of a job I did with this.
The primer never lies.
The primer never lies. However, clear super glue certainly does.
Oh yeah.
Hides all. Oh, I actually need to glue on a couple of things first.
There was no pain. I had entered a state of shock. Yeah, there is nothing other than shock when your finger is like flopping over. Trust me, been there. Flopped off the tip of my ring finger on my right hand using a hole saw. Getting it bound in the frame of a boat. Having the hole saw kick back and twist out of my hand and take the tip of my finger with it.
Yeesh.
And going into that, oh, I'll just put a paper towel and some duct tape on this and go home and take a nap. It'll be fine when I wake up.
It wasn't, was it?
Actually, it was.
Oh, well, there you
go. I got very lucky on that one. I did not go to the doctor until much later. By the time I went to the doctor, they were like, yeah, you probably should have come here first.
But you're doing okay right now.
I was like, Doc, that's not how my brain works. Sorry. So now I just have the forever scar of where the biggest chunk of it went back on, but that flopped from the end of that all the way around the tip. I just folded it back over and taped it up and put paper towel on it, went home, took a nap. In the middle of a job. My boss was calling, you know, back before cell phones were great. My boss kept calling, and the next day when I went into work, like nothing had happened. They were all like, so hey, you want to tell us about that job yesterday? And I was like, yeah, I can't really remember what happened. And they go, well, you left a big puddle of blood on the deck of the boat and really freaked a bunch of people out because they couldn't find you. And I was like, I think I drove home. My boss was so angry with me. So angry with me. Like, okay, so that's not how that goes. I'm never letting you go anywhere by yourself again if this is how you're going to act. Like, well, I think I was kind of in shock. But I understand. I won't let it happen again. I like that. Bacardi, oh. I'm gonna go get a box.
Bacardi?
I'm gonna go get a box.
You're gonna get.
Guy.
That box.
Didn't say he wasn't in shock.
Oh.
I just walked around showing everybody my thumb hanging off.
That sounds like a lie to me. You lying, Tim? Are you a lying liar that lies? It's a box. It has arrived with a box.
I have a box of some stuff. This was just fun stuff I found. It was like trip down memory lane, right? From
The yesteryears.
yeah, from the before times. Right? Of the olden days when we
Oh my gosh.
first did the artillery brush set, and I found everything but let's see, it has the 2 angle dry brushes, a 2, a 4. Oh, it's missing the 6 and the BAB. So yeah, it's the first synthetic brush set we did back when we were Slow Fuse Gaming. The SFGs. So I found a near full sample set of these. It's missing the 6. Brand new, never used. So I got some new brushes. Haha! I will use these on stream. They're amazing. I don't know where to put them though. Like, I don't know where to put stuff. It was just like I was at the old house, and this was the room that that the studio used to be in, right? So the old det cord brush tube, the super long brush tubes we had back from the Slow Fuse Gaming day. It's always just a good, like, fun trip down memory lane for me, seeing all the Slow Fuse Gaming branding on everything. Had the old card that used to go out in all the orders we shipped, right? How long ago was that? That's crazy. Found a whole brick of those things. The original brush holder. Wow. before we redesigned how these work, because these the brush holding tips would break off in shipping sometimes because they got kind of narrow. I still have a full one in the shrink from when we were slow fuse gaming. Look at this. Somebody tried to make Hobby Nerd mugs, and I had to send them a cease and desist.
Really?
About a year ago, and they were like, you don't own that. I was like, dude, it's like a trademark. Like we do. I said, we've been doing it forever. He goes, well, I mean, can you prove how long you've been doing it? And so I sent him the graphic, but I was like, and then I found the stickers, right? Like the old Slow Fuse Gaming stickers that we did with the Hobby Nerd logo on them. I got a couple of those. The big ones. These are like 3 inches by 3 inches. Look at that. Oh, and then these aren't ours, but I found these, and these are a lot of fun because I always talk about them. These were the old Wonder Wash. This is from the Wayback Machine. This is like 2004, 2003, 2004. This was like printed on an inkjet printer, the label. Right? Look at that. It's all like runny, but it's like a paper label, like a sticker you would buy at, Staples. www.wonderwashink.com. These were the first washes I had ever experienced, and they were amazing. They're made by, I think, a little family. It might have been in Southern California. It even says like something inks. They were crazy. It didn't even say what color it was. It was just the same label on every bottle. None of them said what color. This one, the label didn't fare so well, but I think that was yellow. I bought the whole set from a place down in Southern California when I lived there. That was pretty funny. I found the first ever tubes of our sample pigments when we were looking at coloring and turning them into liquid acrylic. So this is the thing that would become burnt orange, right? Found those. These were the old sample tubes we got from the factory for mixing paints and turning them in. Hooker's green. How crazy is that, right? Look at that. Still good too, right? Look at that. 7 years old. That's nuts.
Way back in the day.
What's in here? The fun stuff is in here. Pencil sharpener. And a bunch of Sharpie pens. I don't remember what I used all the Sharpies for. Oh, my freaking eraser. There's my good mechanical pencil in here too. Look at that! That's gonna help on stream. My good mechanical pencil's not in here, but I found my good eraser. Yes! And a bunch of markers. That's fun. But here is the big one, chat.
The big one?
The original labels for the brushes.
Wicks?
Before, this was before. This would have been like these, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was before we did the naming convention. They were all just bomb wicks. We had bomb wicks that were the sables, and then we did the utility synthetics before we did the artillery deck cord and long wicks. Has anybody been here long enough to remember a sculpting stream? Sculpting with fuse. Anybody remember these things? This will be near and dear to Baby J's heart, because I was doing, what's this guy's name? The leader of Signar. Striker. I was doing Striker as like pinup version of Striker. I was doing him like bare chested, right? And then with his big old sword. Right? Was the idea. And we had started like all of his features and stuff, but we were doing it all OG style. We did a couple of like anatomy sculpting streams where we would show people how to build up from an armature.
Yeah.
If they wanted to start sculpting their own minis.
That's cool.
I found him. Look at that. He's packing a piece of foam. Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew? The Wayback Machine was kicking yesterday for me, chat. Cleaning out the old room in the closet. Opening up boxes and being wowed every time I would see something. I was like,
Wow.
what the heck? It's awesome. Juice, obviously not a set of the first runs, but still using a set of the black-handled bomb wicks. Nice. Well, now, are they the long-handled ones with the gloss black, and they just say bomb wicks on them and nothing else? Slow Fuse Gaming bomb wicks? Because those are probably first run. I have about 5 packs of those still, complete. They were 5 brush sets that went from 00, 0, 1, 2, and 3. And I still have like 5 sets. They were on the same kind of like backing card that said Slow Fuse Gaming, and they came in a plastic package. Put them in a museum. Jen's like, rum and coke was my drink until I puked a lot and never wanted to drink again. Baby J's been, Paint Liquor says, been staring at the box with your brush all weekend. I dare not open it while not at home. JDA, you were there. You know. Old school, baby. Old school. Long. Oh, but they were in a tube. Log handle, gloss black, but in a tube. Yeah, so that would have been like the second edition brushes. They were the same as the first edition. They just didn't come on the backer card. The backer card causes problems in shipping, as you can imagine. So we swapped as soon as we could find a distributor for raw plastic tubes and caps and stuff like that. So JDA, back in the days of you and Moscow Mules, yeah. Jen and I would drink Moscow Mules on Friday stream. We would sit around and drink Moscow Mules until we were way too silly. Jen would usually leave the stream first as she got tipsy, and then I would keep going. And there was lots of dumb stuff said.
Why is that not surprising me in the least?
Jen says she just unpacked our copper mugs over the weekend. Yeah, we had the copper mugs. Not that we'll ever use them. Yeah, we don't drink like that anymore. Probably better that we don't.
Yeah, probably.
Probably better that we don't. Monument Hobbies. Attesting to the power of sobriety. Sounds like it's time for a throwback stream. A throwback stream? What, when we drink on stream? Not going to happen. Probably not going to happen.
They don't drink anymore.
They don't drink anymore. I told you guys I bought like the little 4-pack of plastic bottles of cheap-ass wine at the grocery store the other night. And I drink like half of the bottle straight from the bottle and then dump the rest out. And they're little bitty things.
Yeah.
Now, we're responsible adults, and we get to focus on making cool product for you guys. The funny thing is, like, we're not the ones that needed to stop. I mean, I think probably everybody's better off if they stop drinking, but it was not like we never really drank that much anyway.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, I don't even drink a lot.
I tell my friends from like back east and stuff that being a young adult with, or my friends in California, when they're like, we gotta get together and go party. I'm like, hey, I don't drink anymore. And they're like, of all the people to have had to stop drinking, like, all of them need to stop drinking, and I'm the one that's like, I was the designated driver anyway. Jen says she tried to give me a wine glass to class it up, and I declined. I was offended. You can't make that wine any better by putting it in a glass. Senpai, anybody catch a plate on that bus? Yeah. 6'2" Baby J. Where'd he go? Oh.
Hello.
I said baby _J. Not the vanity plate.
Oh, there is a vanity plate on that bus. You best be sure.
But I tell you, having the cheap ass wine in the plastic little jars.
I mean,
it's perfect.
Might as well be plastic
I
wine.
used to buy like a $4.99 bottle of wine. I'd get like $4 chuck or $3 chuck or whatever it is now from like Trader Joe's, right? I'd get that and take it home, and I'd pour one glass, and I'd get half the glass down, and then I'd throw the rest out, and the bottle would sit on the counter until invariably I would ask Jen 3-4 weeks later when we decided to have prison bread dinner again.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, you think this wine is still good?
No.
And I would always take the cork out, sniff it, be like, seems good. Pour it into a glass and take a sip and be like, not good. Not good.
It wasn't great to start with, so.
Not good. Senpai, your Warhound print has been getting coated in Pro Acryl. Loving getting coated in Pro. We're about to do one too. We got a Warhound print coming.
You mean I'm about to do
Baby
one?
J's about the non-metallic metal of Warhound. He doesn't know it yet, so don't tell him. Shh, it's a surprise.
It's not really a surprise if you tell me and everybody else on stream at the same time.
Shush you. You don't hear me.
Yes, I do.
Damn it.
I'm a very adept listener.
Damn it. And by adept, he means selective.
No.
Why are you taking the primer off?
This is pretty rough.
Then Baby J needs to drink enough for both of us when we do a drinking stream. That's it, Baby J.
Nope.
Jordan, you're getting roasty toasty live on
crunk.
stream. How do you feel about this?
Stream? Oh my god.
How do you feel about this, Jordan?
I don't feel like this.
I don't feel much at all. Baca says, how much do we have to donate to get all the armor plates done in plaid?
Too much.
I think $1,000. $500 for me and $500 for Baby J. $500 for Baby J for painting the plaid, and $500 for me having to put up with him bitching while he paints the plaid.
Oh,
Solo
Jason.
says, stripping the model already? He's getting better at changing his mind, isn't he? He's not even waiting to put the paint on it. Now he's just like, no, I don't like it. I'm doing it over.
Oh, come on now.
Hipster Gumby, $1 billion. $1 billion, man. We just shut the business down. For $1 billion, you can have Monument Hobbies, and we'll paint the Titan plaid. How about that? Senpai says, so crowdfund? I'm in. Pink and plaid, $1,000. GoFundMe. Go. I'm lying. Sort of. Not about the billion. For the billion, you can be the nice, proud owner of Monument Hobbies. It'd be hard to leave here, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I mean, what if we split $1 billion, though? Amongst everybody here.
I literally wouldn't care.
That doesn't feel right, right?
It would.
Like, it's like, I don't know what if I couldn't wake up in the morning and come here to your bright, cheery face, I don't know what I'd do. So we'd have to get a house together with $1 billion. It'd be a long house with you on one wing.
Yeah.
And me on
I mean, you've already moved me away once. I get how
He's here for like a week and I kick him out.
Like, I can't take this guy coming in and saying hello to me in the morning.
He's
too nice.
Freaking too nice, this guy. I'm like, I need my morning to be shitty. You go sit over there. We actually needed a conference room. So Baby J got relegated to the other offices.
I'm gonna be honest, I like my new office.
You got a new
better
office.
than yours.
Your new office is nicer.
Yeah.
It has the old 70s fiberglass lamp inserts in the ceiling.
Yeah, that's
which is really weird, by the way.
very odd.
Like, it's funny that that's the one room that like those two rooms are like the two things that survived like the OG build out of the place.
It's very bizarre.
Yeah, they have like the old 70s fabric.
They are also the hottest darn rooms in the freaking office.
I guess late in the afternoon, yeah.
No, even in the morning. Been sweating my balls off all morning.
Do you turn the AC on?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a 77 in there.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. That's after the ducts got fixed.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
Me neither.
Me neither.
I don't know what to tell me either.
It's like, me neither.
Yeah, I got nothing.
I'm
out.
sad. I are sad. We take the $1 billion and start another paint company.
I mean, that's
I
really
feel
the
like
answer,
if somebody
right?
comes and hands you $1 billion for your company, there's a little rider in the contract that says, "Oh, and by the way, you don't get to do this anymore."
Yeah, probably.
You go reinvest their $1 billion to be their biggest competitor, take all their customers. We like Jason and Jen better. Feel like there's a big lawsuit, and then we're all living under a bridge.
That is like a legitimately interesting question. Would you give up Monument Hobbies for $1 billion?
For $1 billion, I mean, there's not even a question. Sure,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because all of us at Monument Hobbies would never work again.
Yeah.
We would go create an artist commune where we would invite people to come learn how to mini paint for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
And we could still have tons of fun and do tons of cool stuff.
And ideally, Monument Hobbies would still exist.
Yeah, but no, like selling Monument Hobbies, not on the radar. Not
Yeah.
something we sit around and think about.
I feel like you'd also try and like put some verbiage into the contract that made sure that Monument Hobbies would stay as close to what it is as possible.
Can't do that.
You can.
Not really.
Not really?
No.
That's a bummer.
No, there's no legal way to get around the ambiguity of keep it the way it is, right? Because that's not how businesses work. So wind up in a situation where
Well, you'd have to specify like very specific things.
Yeah,
but I think the problem is
nobody'd sign that.
You can't really. Yeah, nobody.
Yeah, nobody did.
Nobody with $1 billion would sign that. I know people who would sign it, but those people probably don't have $1 billion.
We're fine the way we are. Our crazy little dysfunctional family.
We're dysfunctional?
Have you talked to the people in this building?
What does functional look like then?
I wouldn't know. Now that you ask, that's gonna make me cry. My whole life has been like this. Using the greatest gift to non-metallic metal since the creation of non-metallic metal. Dark golden brown.
It's pretty darn good.
Add some wash. You guys been watching The Bear? What's that?
Oh, it's so good.
What is it?
It
TV
is,
show?
Yeah, it's a TV show about. I think I've mentioned it before.
Oh, wait a minute. We
Sure.
talked about it. It's about the bear that finds
Nope.
and befriends the chipmunk.
Nope. You got the wrong show there, guy.
No, but I did a whole expose on it, that stream, and you said I was right. Or that, no, somebody said they'd watch that show. That's what they said.
Yes.
They said that's not it at all, but I would watch that. That's what the comment was.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that.
I think there was a raccoon involved, and I like my version better than whatever you're about to tell me.
You ready?
You done babbling over there, old man? That was basically what Baby J just said.
Yes, pretty much. It is about a very, very, very good chef who's like relatively young. He's,
Oh wait, it's the guy from the Showtime show that Jen watches. There, everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about now.
No, no, I do not.
Yeah, he's from a Showtime show. He was one of the many children living, trying to survive in a house with no parents. Shameless, I think it's called.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah. Anyway, he's from Shameless.
Okay.
Maddie Matheson. Yeah, Shameless, Jen says. Yep. Second season out on 19th. Can't wait. Shameless. Yep. You watched the first episode and thought I'd like it, so I didn't watch more. It's now in the second season. It's so good. Nope, it's about a guy that takes over his brother's restaurant, and it's chaos. I don't know about the chaos part. There's some things that stress me out about TV that I don't want in my day because I already have enough. So I like for stuff to be, you know, a little bit more functional for me. Like Ted Lasso has been really good, but even the stuff with Nate has made me want to punch walls.
Yeah, the Nate stuff.
I don't like crappy humans, man. Let's just put it out there. I just call it what it is. I don't like crappy humans, and shows that have a lot of crappy humans, regardless if the good guys come out on top or whatever. The story and the path of getting there sometimes just keeps me from enjoying it. You know? Like, Ted Lasso's great, but his inexplicable lack of caring about winning has been hard to stomach, because he would have never been a football coach who did what he did if he didn't care about winning. And he's over here, and I get the whole thing with his divorce and all that, so I get the emotional stuff he's going through, but there's just it leaves a little bit to be desired as far as that goes. And then when you get the Nate interaction, and poor Ted Lasso's just a pushover the whole time, I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of getting over this storyline. At some point in time, you got to stand up for yourself. So I'm hoping in season 3 this happens, because we just finished season 2. Still great. But some of the things ended on a down note, which was uncharacteristic for it, but I get it. But yeah, I'll give The Bear a shot if Jen likes it.
Yeah, it's wild. It has some hard to watch episodes for me, at least. Specifically in season 2, there's like a particularly hard to watch episode.
Just because of the content?
Yeah. Well, it's about a Christmas dinner.
Okay, family stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff's hard.
It's like incredibly dysfunctional family. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty rough. It's good, and it's relevant to a lot of the things that are happening in people's heads in the story at that time, but it is
hard to watch.
Hard to watch.
Yeah.
The family dinner episode was extremely hard to get through. Yeah. That's the one I'm talking about, Potter. It is great. It's a great show.
You need to eat when you watch it, though, so it doesn't make you hungry. You need to time your dinner correct with watching the next episode.
It's if I recall, it's also based out in in Chicago, like the downtown Chicago.
Yeah, seemed like it was very
so
urban.
It's got that vibe to it, and everybody is all like small suburbs Chicago sort of feel.
I feel like Shameless was Chicago, was it not? Jen will know. Well, anybody that watches the show will know, but I feel like Shameless seemed like it was Chicago or a city like that. Maybe not. Maybe it was like somewhere in Massachusetts. I don't remember.
Sounds like it probably gave off some similar vibe.
It was inner city America.
Yeah.
Rough neighborhoods and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Shameless had some amazing characters in it, but I just couldn't watch it because of the fact that it too had some of those situations where you're like, dude, that guy would not have been able to say those words to those people in front of me. This episode would have ended a lot quicker.
Yeah. Yeah.
South side of Chicago, yeah. Yeah, but I've been enjoying Ted Lasso. I have not watched anything else though, and I've only been doing a couple episodes. We got through. We were on like episode 11 of season 2 of Ted Lasso, so we watched episodes 11 and then the final one 12, right? Yeah. And so that's set up for season 3. So I'm stoked for that. Well, it's already out, right, and done. Yep. Because the whole series is over. Yep. So excited to see how that all ends. So we'll probably continue to watch an episode every couple days or something like that until we're done. I've been enjoying it. It's not one where I'm super stoked to like binge it. We did at the beginning. We watched, like half a dozen shows real quick. Yeah. And it was really good. It hasn't petered out. I've really enjoyed it, but it's become episodic for me. Yes. Like I need to take it in small doses and move along.
I would be very curious to see how you feel about the show after season 3 or as you're going through season 3, because it took me a while to appreciate what season 3 ended up being.
Oh, okay.
And I won't spoil it for you by explaining.
Don't.
But I think you will pick up on it, and we'll probably end up having a conversation about it on stream.
Gosu says, beep, beep, bus coming through. Be careful, Baby J doesn't throw you under it. Comment from Baby J. That's what I thought. You got the eye of death, Gosu. The eye of doom. So, this game I'm playing.
Yeah.
Right. Probably another reason why I'm not tremendously into watching a ton of television. So I determined over the weekend that Noida was not hard enough.
What?
I got too good at it. I was only dying once every like 15 minutes or so. So I determined that was not what I had spent my $8.99 for. So I started playing modded Noida over the weekend.
Make it harder?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But I'm going to be honest with you. Making the game hard, and this sounds stupid. If you've played Noida, it's been out for years. So I'm not new, nor am I special in this regard. I'm just a scrub just not finding an amazing game all this time later. But if you've ever played Noida, then you know what I'm about to say might ring true for you. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you think I'm an idiot. But if you want to really see how fun that game can be, amplify the difficulty.
Really?
Because along with the amplified difficulty comes so many more choices and things you can do that it went from a game where I felt like I needed to speed run it to get further. Because it gets to be such a bullet hell craziness game past about level 3, level 4, that you just like, how fast can I get to the bottom of this level? But then it's not fun because you get there and you don't have any money because you didn't kill anything. Like if your RNG's bad and you don't get a good set of wands with good spells, right? Or you lose a lot of life early in a level, you can't really explore because the difficulty's so hard in the game that, sometimes it's better to just start a new run. Like if I jump in and 3 minutes into the run, I've got 40 health, out of 100, I'm just like, I'm starting over. Because I don't have enough health to make it to where I can get good stuff.
Yep.
So modded Noida gives you all sorts of crazy stuff. It's amazing. It's great. It's great. Jason, go full masochist mode. Bring out the Souls games. Souls games are too easy. That's why I play Noida.
Wow.
Souls games easy mode. Noida, insanity. It literally is the hardest game I've ever played in my life. It's insane. But modded Noita gives you a ton of fun. It's so much great stuff. New enemies you can add into the game that come with like mini bosses. The main game doesn't have mini bosses. It just has regular bosses. Or at least not that I found any mini bosses. So you get mini bosses, so that gives you the ability to fight and feel like you're doing better before you get the big stuff. And the ability to, like, I found a mod that lets you edit your wands anywhere, which you kind of have to use with this other mod that lets the monsters you kill drop. It's called drop your weapons or drop your guns. All the monsters you kill drop the spells they cast. So, like, there's slime balls that fly around and they shoot slime balls at you. Amazing that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, when you kill them, they drop their slime ball spell, and so you can immediately pick up the slime ball spell and put it in your wand if you want to use it. Or the dudes that throw dynamite. You've played it a little bit, didn't you? Or
No,
did you not?
I haven't gotten a chance to yet.
Okay.
I was busy with pre-releases over.
Here we go. Excuses with Digimans.
I mean,
you're missing out on the most fun you've ever had in your life. Probably not, but that's a big sell. But like there's little dudes that throw dynamite sticks at you. So you get their dynamite sticks, which is cool. You already get dynamite sometimes, but being able to have like unlimited dynamite because they drop it all the time is amazing. So it gives you some perks that make the game feel more attainable. But because it amped up the difficulty, you're actually dying more, but you feel like as you're dying, right, you're having more fun because you get to explore more, spend more time in the levels, things like that. It's a neat way to play it.
So then here's an interesting question. Should I play the game unmodded first?
Yes.
Okay.
100%. But realize as you're playing it, because I assumed because it's so Terraria-like, and modded Terraria is really fun.
Yeah.
Like modded Terraria brings the whole thing to life. Gives you all sorts of crazy crap you can do. And because there's 50 million mods and most of them seem to work well together, you can kind of mix and match to make the experience whatever you want it to be. Same here. So you can go through, and it's meant to be modded because right in the main menu it says mod settings, and it goes through and lets you turn all your mods on and off, and pick which ones you want and don't want and things like that.
Okay.
I don't play with any of the save game ones, which is probably stupid. I've kept on. There's no mod that I know of that lets you bypass the hardcore nature of the game. When you die, you die. You can't reload another game.
Okay. That's
no matter
really
what you do. No matter what you do. There are games that let you manipulate your save files in a way so that you can like save a game and then go do another run. Like, so say you're doing a run that is a particular achievement run. You want to do it without taking any damage.
Yeah.
So you're going to do a no-hit run. You can start your no-hit run, create a save file for it, and then go start another run. It's made for streamers, right? Yeah. Because the game is really supportive of streaming. So if you wanted to do your no-hit run, but you're feeling like, oh my God, I'm getting stressed, I need to stop, but you still want to play for your chat or you want to play at home, you can save that file and then start another new game. Normally that would delete all your save files. Now you can go back to it. But if in your no-hit run you die, there is no restart point. So the only reason it allows you save games is to be able to have multiple instances of the game going over time.
Got it. Okay.
So that you could be doing multiple, achievement runs and trying new things and just playing a for fun run or whatever. So I love that it does that. But I have not done any of those because, number one, I suck at the game. So I literally just die all the time. But yeah, it's great.
I love how you just talked about it being too.
Oh, that's the tongue-in-cheek. I watched a guy who said that if you want the full exploration feel of Noita that it has to give, play this modded Noita because of the fact that it gave you the ability. Because the things you'll play it vanilla. The things you'll hate is that there's no healing, so you got to get through the level, get to the safe spot in the holy mountain, and heal up. Right? Okay. You find hearts along the way, but the hearts just give you max health. They don't give you any health. Right, so if you're down at 20 health, you started with 100. When you find a heart, it makes you 125, but now you're 20 of 125.
Got it.
So the problem being that you can, because it's all rando, you jump into the seed and you go down the chute into the dungeon, and there can be like the biggest bad sitting there waiting for you at the opening of the first door. There aren't doors,
Got
but as soon as you jump in, and you can just get completely engulfed by bullet hell instantly
and just die
and find yourself at like 20 health.
Okay.
Lost 80% of your health.
That's
and
rough.
You played 30 seconds.
That's rough.
Right? And because you get stuck on a pixel, like literally like a pixel on the screen you can't even see, but you're jumping and it's got you hung up on the pixel. So it can be really frustrating. So at 20 health, you feel like, well, now this is just a shot run because I can't do anything.
Yeah.
Right? But then you watch people and guys like, I saw one of the best streamers of the game get like done dirty at the beginning of the game, and he was down to like 1 health. He's like, don't worry about it, chat. What have I always said? If you got 1 health, you can play the whole game.
Oh,
you know?
no.
But he also does a lot of no-hit runs. So he's on 1 health. So he's going through and doing the whole level on 1 health, which I'm like, I would die. Insane. I would touch a toxic rock and it does like 2 per tick. I'd just be dead. But it's hilarious.
All right, chat.
The Dark Lord of the Bus. You were Team Baby J until you heard about this latest tragedy.
Wow. That hurts my soul.
Gosu, you tried out the Blood Angel scheme. You're in love with the shadows it gives, but you decided to modify it a good deal with another cool technique you found. Traitor.
Were
you hoping for a good answer there? You're saying that you tried my scheme and it was cool, but I went with somebody else's instead. That's what you just said. Sapo, what game is this? Noita, Noita. It's a pixel platformer kind of a game, much like Terraria. Every pixel in the game is interactable. Every single pixel. You can blow up every ounce of terrain. And there's like add-ons that are different alchemy, so you have different potions, and you can mix the potions together to get other potions. And you basically find a divot in the ground and pour a potion in, then pour another potion on top of it, and sometimes you get a third potion. And when you get that third potion, you can get an empty bottle and fill that third potion in it and run around and do stuff with it. So it's really cool stuff. It's a lot of fun. It is the most abusive game I've ever played in my life. And because it is harder or as hard as the first time you ever played a Dark Souls game, right? But there's no saves and there's no coming back. It's always hardcore all the time. All hardcore all the time. You die, you die. You know, it's roguelike in the worst possible manner, because when you start over, you don't get anything from your past runs. There's no benefit. There's no progression. You either finish the game or you don't. And there's a part of the game you can't even play until you finish the game. So they even have half of, like, part of what you paid for you can't even experience until you get good, scrub.
What? That's
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's like the biggest masochistic thing I've ever played in my life. It's worse than like I forget, the Something Is You. There was a game that came out that was like a pixel kind of Dark Souls that was bosses only, and it was ridiculous.
That sounds horrible.
Like impossible to play. This is worse. Am I selling it well?
I mean, I want to play it, so yeah. I think you're doing all right. So just to talk a little bit about what I'm doing here really quick. I want to get into this.
Messing up a perfectly good model over there.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow, man, I can't get away from it today.
Zingers.
I just can't get away from it today. Well, you know what? Now nobody gets to know anything.
You realize I started my day with you blaming Gabe for something he didn't do?
He definitely did it.
He definitely did it.
He
See, Chad,
definitely
he's
did
sticking to his guns here.
This one, I'm not letting go. This was Gabe through and through.
Thought you would have learned.
But anyways, I wanted to go with some kind of South American suntan skin.
Oh yeah, you told me you're doing like more like Aztec color palette kind of thing.
Yeah. So I'm going with a mixture of the newish warm brown with dark warm flesh with a touch of orange transparent mixed in. And this is because when you mix these two colors, they desaturate a little bit. So you lose some of that warmth and saturation, and this orange helps balance it out and add more saturation to it. So I'm just going on really thin to kind of sketch in some color. And then as I get a good idea of what the color wants to look like, then I will go back in and I'll start to refine all the colors, then I'll go back in with an airbrush and I'll soften all the transitions out, like what we did, or what Jason did on Morgana. So that's the plan. So you'll see I'm just going in here with really thin glazes and hitting all of this skin with this darker. And I'm really going for like a really, really tan bronze skin tone. What I'm shooting for here.
Dark Savage. Man of Bronze.
And then these feathers are going to be blue. And I'm not sure exactly what the color of the serpent's going to be yet, but we're going to get there. We're going to figure it out.
I'm not sure yet. Sounds like I'm rubbing off on him, chat. Baby J came in with a plan.
Well, I have some plan. Some semblance of a plan. There's like a part of this that I'm really like, I have a vision for. And then there's other parts of it where I'm just like, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen here, but we're going to figure it out.
I tell people all the time that if you can get away with having a plan, stick to it, and get to the end feeling like you're happy with the project, go for it. But sometimes you just want to focus in on the main component of a model and getting that part of the plan enacted.
Yep.
And then let everything else develop around that main part. Because until you can visualize it, see your goal, you know, like doing bronze skin like you're doing that warm skin.
Yeah. Or
doing yellow armor on a thing. Or you just commit to all the other colors and get it in your head so that you get frustrated when they don't work, right? Instead, pick yellow armor and get the yellow down, and then start picking all your other colors with what you think looks good with how the yellow looks on that particular model, because yellow from model to model is not going to look the same. Do up Imperial Fists and really have some great looking yellow Marines, and then the next time you want to paint robot or something, you're like, oh, I'm gonna do it yellow because I really like the way my Marines came out, and then you realize that it looks different because the shape of the model's all different, or the lighting you chose is totally different. So
well, and this is definitely very clearly intended to be an Aztec woman, because the Quetzalcoatl, which is what this snake is representing, is an Aztec god. So I used that for a lot of inspiration. I did a little bit of research this weekend on some things kind of inspire me on the project. So I'm very excited to come in and knock this one out. I also have a slightly darker mix of this that I have that I'm going to be using for all of this deep recess area. And a lot of this down here in the deep recesses is all going to be just like, because unless I'm painting it in sub-assemblies, which I considered, it wouldn't really work out super well. I need to let this complete. Here.
Have I played any Wild West Exodus lately? No, I just threw away a tremendous amount of Wild West Exodus miniatures, though. I have not played Wild West Exodus since we did the game years and years ago on our show, where Mike and I painted and played the 2 starter set box factions. And honest to God, cleaning out the old studio at the house over the weekend, there was just bucket loads of those miniatures hanging around from all the sets that we had busted open to do giveaways and stuff like that. But no, I haven't. I know that after the property got sold, the game changed quite a bit, though. Or at least that's what I heard. Like I said, I didn't partake in playing the 2nd edition or 3rd edition. I don't know what edition they're on. I liked some of it. I felt like it wasn't. I don't know how to say this. I want the first term that comes to my head. I'm just gonna say it like I feel it. Is brave enough? It wasn't brave enough. It was just another generic team on team shoot 'em up. I think that the action card system when I played it was unique in that, you know, you had your initiative based on these card flops and stuff, so that was kind of nifty. But I think just the standard gameplay loop for me was too like every other tabletop war game. So I would need to take a look and see where it's at right now. Like I said, they've probably changed tons since it changed ownership. I can't remember when we played it, who owned it. I don't know if it was the Battle Foam guys or... I don't remember. Do you remember? Joe Sebastian, you keep getting stuck on non-metallic metal. What do you mean by stuck? Stuck in pulling it off? Stuck on making color choices?
Yeah, what is causing you the problems? We can see what we can do to help you out with that.
Step one of the plan, throw the plan out the window. Who needs a plan? We don't need no stinking plan. You don't remember first edition, but second and third edition are a bit same, only refined. I play here and there when one of my friends that got a posse can play. That's awesome. Yeah, it and Deep Wars are the two games that stuck out to me. They were a little bit bigger than skirmish size that we played. They could be played at smaller, posse sizes, but they both could get fairly large too. And then I think Weird tried to do on the other side.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Which is kind of their big army version of Malifaux that failed miserably.
Yeah.
So we were looking at all of those around the same time. I think Other Side was a little bit later. But Deep Wars we played. Deep Wars had a neat perspective to it where the heroes really felt heroic, but they were OP to the point where they made the game so unbalanced you couldn't actually play with them. Those guys are still working though. They still have neat stuff going on with their game. I am part of their Facebook group, and I watch the stuff there. They're coming out with new releases all the time. So it's a neat little world they've created and a neat community of people that play it. So I think it's great. I have not seen the same with Wild West Exodus. I don't hear as much about it. So I don't know as much about where it's headed since then. That's been years ago, you know. Player J, you stop. Light placement mainly, or on irregular surfaces. So remember that every surface is made up of some core fundamental geometric shapes, right? No matter what it is, all of them are made up of, you know, faces of a cube, sphere, cone, cylinder, pyramid, right? All of those things are your fundamental pieces. And so being able to break the model down into those fundamental geometric shapes is part of the biggest thing about becoming a good painter in general. And I say good painter in kind of a nebulous sense, meaning that you'll have better consistent control of the situation as you paint, because you'll be able to take a hand, and instead of it being some crazy position of the hand and knowing how to highlight it, you'll know that that's just 5 cylinders, right? And maybe another cylinder depending on how the middle of the hand is shaped, or the face of a cube, kind of a thing. And so you'll start being able to look at the head as a sphere, right, with a more cylindrical front to it, shoulders and all of that. So especially when painting human forms, that comes into play. But then you get into like armor and all the things that's going on there, you know, like the complications of, like, say, the Death Knight. We talked a lot about that as I was painting on the Death Knight from Journeyman. It's all the complex shapes on all the engraving, right? So trying to figure out how to get this to look like metal with the shine and everything going where I want it, and then still being able to keep all of the individual components visible, right? Again, it's just breaking it down. There's a myriad of shapes just between the eyebrows, nose, and cheek on this engraving or embellishment on his chest. And so you have to look at all those little bitty cylinders that are slightly bent, right? The cylinder of the nose, and the spheres of the nostrils, and the sphere of the eye, and all of that. So you start thinking in terms of the minute little shape you're painting at any given point that could be tied directly to another bigger shape if it's part of some complicated, you know, engraving line or something like that. And so you start being more and more comfortable of reducing it to just the part your brush is touching and how light would affect that one little part, as opposed to looking at some big complicated thing like a weapon, you know, got some big hammer, and you're looking at it as, oh my God, how do I paint the hammer kind of a thing, you know? Same when we did like Dante. We've been doing a lot of non-metallic gold lately, but, you know, picking all of these apart into their component shapes is the way you survive and feel like you're going to make it to the end, you know, with something that you're happy about. And, you know, that once you get that ingrained into your process of how you paint, then every model you paint starts to benefit from it, whether you're painting feathers or non-metallic metal or whatever. It doesn't matter. Being able to bust those shapes down will help you interpret light correctly on the model, regardless of what material you're painting. We talk around here in terms of less in terms of like non-metallic metal. It's a term we use in painting in the hobby, right? But it really is just painting metal without using metallic paints, right? Because metallic paints are not true metal. People call it that, but they don't look like real metal either, right? They just happen to have shine built directly into them. There's no metal out there that I know of other than the metal that the raw ore you pull out of the ground that has that speckle to it that metallic paints give, right? So there's not really, both of them are just ways to put that feel on the model, but you're still going to want to control your light. And so that happens with every material we do. I tell everybody you already know how to paint, you know, non-metallic metal if you've been painting anything, because you're going from dark to light. It's just being able to make sure that, like you're saying, your light placement is tough. I guarantee it's not really. You're just letting it get in your head. Because if you paint a regular model, trying to find something that doesn't have a ton of non-metallic metal on it. Well, Enzo's a good. He has some non-metallic metal, obviously. But looking at the chest plates that are maybe like ceramic or plastic armor or something like that, you've already painted every model you've ever painted with shadow to highlight. And you've said, okay, I want my highlight to be on one side of the model or the other, or not really focused on it or anything. And so you'll go from dark to light, and you'll stretch your mid-tone how you need to make it either, brighter or darker, right? And once you get that dialed in, you'll do a little bit of edge highlighting and detailing, and you're done. That's already painting reflected surface. It's just not as reflective as, say, metal. Like the metal strapping on his arm is painted exactly the same when you really break it down, right? Look at the difference between these blue steel that we've painted on Enzo versus the way we've painted the hard armor, right? So the hard armor goes from dark to light, but the brightest color on the armor is not very close to the dark, except where the scratches are, right? And that gives them an ultimate contrast that shows them for the texture you want. But over here I've got dark, and then I got mid-dark, and then mid-tone, and then brighter mid-tone, and then finally my highlight. Whereas here, look at what I've done is I've got the same light source, right, over to the right, but I've got dark, mid-tone, bright, right? And my bright color jumps right on there. I don't have as much of a staging of my color. My bright color sits on all those edges directly in relation to my darkest, right? So here, dark color, bright color right next to each other. Right? Dark color, bright color right next to each other, which gives that dimensioning and that directionality to your light source and causes that reflectiveness to show. And this isn't even really doing shiny metal. So it shows in a subtle way how you can create metal by just using a much brighter value on your highlight than you did for your darkest color and putting them closer together with less in between colors. Right? There might be one or two mixes between my dark color and my bright color here, and then I hit it with nearly a white, as opposed to on my armor, I don't do that. If I went back over the armor and hit it with a much brighter color than my bright highlight right now, like a white or something like that, then this too would become non-metallic metal. It would start giving you the feel of being shinier because my brightest reflection got more close to what the light source is, and that's how you tell, right? So you're already doing it. You'll notice on the skin on his head, I never go super bright. If I go much brighter, right, I start looking wet or metallic, because that's what we expect from hard reflective surfaces, is that they get a much brighter highlight to them on the edges and the brightest reflection spots than their base color is. And so you're always looking at defining your shapes with your volumes and contrast, and then determining how bright you want to go. And the mistake a lot of people use is that they go to a similar level of brightness across the whole model. Some of the best painters in the world do this, and they go to the same level of value on the skin as they did on the sword, as they did on the cloth, as they did on the boots, and the leather. And you get this weird disco ball effect that makes everything look shiny. Like the skin looks like they rubbed oil on the model, And it's like in reality, you get all of these variations in how brightness plays across because all of these are different materials. Some of the metal may be duller than others, right? Some may be brighter and more polished. And that gives you a lot of storytelling to do. But it's all the same. It's painted all the same, right? It's just the subtle nuances of the specks of brightness thrown in there because the red on here is painted exactly like his skin is, right? Kind of a mid-tone dark to a mid-tone bright. There's not a lot of bright color. And then my bright color is this shock of pink, or pale pink on there that makes it look metallic. So being able to control when you go bright and how bright you go is how you separate all of your materials, including metal. And so focus on that, and you'll start having your metal make sense, because I guarantee you already know where the light's supposed to go. You're just not punching up your contrast enough, or you're doing it too much too soon, that kind of stuff. Disco, 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 disco. Wild West Exodus got an expansion, Dystopian Wars. Dystopian Wars was a total other game. Have they tied those two together now? Is Wild West Exodus part of the dystopian universe? The Dystopian Wars were kind of like a weird, I don't want to say Napoleonic, but kind of a steampunk Napoleonics kind of thing. That was really cool. They had like steamships. They had a on-sea version of it and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, you got to be careful because you can set, like, the only thing that allows me to make my cloth look like it's maybe more silk or satin and reflective is that my brightness on the cloth is so tight in, and I let the darkness take the bulk of the look so that the little bright spots become that much more reflective and shiny. glittering, so to speak, in the sunlight. And then you'll notice how the skin, my brightness is much more how do you say it, blended out over the model, right? So there's not a lot of pinpoint brightness, which takes away that wet reflective look and makes the skin just like evenly highlighted, right? But it shows it as a totally different texture than the stuff next to it. So again, it's just controlling how much and how bright you go, and then keeping it somewhat consistent, right? If your light's coming from one shoulder or top down or whatever, just keep it consistent. But that's,
Yeah. This is another thing too, like kind of what I'm doing here is you can see the brighter highlights on the face go, this is the brightest part, then the shoulder is slightly less bright, kind of falling down, where the hip is much darker. And then once you get down in here, it's going to be like almost black. It's going to be really dark. But keeping that same, and I left a little bit of value to go up brighter above where the top of her face is.
yeah.
Because this is not the top of the model. Now, the face will get a little bit more punch to it because, for one, it is a slight, like, your skin is oily, so it reflects light a lot more than something like feathers would. Well, feathers might too, but feathers are a little bit different. The gold's going to be really bright, but, you know, keeping that top to bottom value and then thinking about all the, like, the sphere of the shoulder, the like cylinder, the kind of bent cylinder that goes from I don't even know what the name of this muscle is right here, that goes into the chest, right? And then there's another sphere. You kind of have a cylinder that's the torso, and then, you know, leg cylinder. This is like you were talking about before, breaking it all down into simple shapes, bringing it back.
Yep.
Also, painting the skin tone is super fun. It's been a while since I've done a non-traditional, well, not non-traditional, but a non, like, Caucasian skin tone, or like weird whatever I did on
the Morgan.
on the Morgan, yeah.
I say it wasn't that long ago. You just painted the Morgan in all those really cool tones.
Yeah.
Yeah, this whole discussion on light is so important because it is really what gives you the ability to be more and more confident in painting your models, because color now becomes just a thing you pick up and use. It doesn't define anything, you know. I mean, ultimately it may define what your model, you know, looks like in the end if you choose to do, you know, like I've chosen this kind of seafoam color for her skin versus, you know, like a normal human skin tone. We've kind of gone uncanny valley with her. So it can definitely change the look of the model, but it's not what I went into the model really worried about. You know, I'm more worried about how to create an ambiance on a model that isn't very dynamic, you know. The serpent over there, the sacrifice, is a much more dynamic model than the one that I'm working on. And so sometimes you just have to look at the sculpt and determine, like, okay, how much of this is going to be the model doing the work for me, and how much of me is going to be having to push to get the work done. And light is always going to be at the front of that decision-making process more so than color. You can pick all the best colors in the world, all the colors that everybody loves to see together, right? But if you don't get your light right, those colors aren't going to look right no matter what you do.
Yep, very true. Yeah, light is arguably one of the most important things to understand, and to not only like understand but learn how to observe. Like taking the observations from the world around you and utilizing those as knowledge to, you know, have a better understanding of how to approach your own miniatures, right?
Pretty soon, you too will be walking around going to lunch or dinner with your friends and loved ones and telling them all of the crazy nuances about color and light you see as it reflects off the things around you in your world, and they will be telling you to shut the hell up. We're here to eat. Jen and I'll always be in the car, and she'll be like, "That's a very interesting color." I'm like, oh, it's kind of like dark gray blue with a little bit of purple in it.
That's so funny.
Yeah, because not only will you start to see trends in color and how certain colors look in certain things, certain colors don't look good in certain forms. You might see a car that you're like, what the hell were they thinking? But that same color would look really good in other situations. Start to have an appreciation that will help you as an artist, because you'll start to get, that input from the world around you that's like, hey, you know what? The craziest color on a car, but it gave me a great idea for the clothes on this model I'm painting.
Yep. Stuff like that. Also, for like weathering is a great one that I like to like snap photos or reference of all the time.
Yeah, especially like rust and verdigris and things like that.
We'll see like a rusted out like trash can or something, and I'll be like, ooh, this is a great bit of reference for doing, paint chipping and how weathering affects paint and stuff like that. And I'll just snap a photo of it and keep it in my phone for when I need it. And when it comes around to having a use for it, it comes in handy.
I snap those pictures and then never look at them.
I've managed to get myself to the point that I am actually looking at them. The key is like taking them in the first place. Because if you don't take them in the first place, then you never have the opportunity to look at them. If you at least give yourself the opportunity to look at them, then you're in a better spot.
Lived with an art teacher and tried to tease her by talking like that once. To tease her like you were getting interested in that stuff, or tease her by acting like you knew what you were talking about? Were you trying to school to teach? Or has she always been trying to get you to look at stuff like that, and so you were teasing her by making it seem like you were paying attention? Put it. Got it on the face.
Got it?
Yeah, I was using my dark golden brown too thin. I knew it. I was like, I got this, and then I smacked it right on her forehead. I'm not done with her face, that's not that big a deal, but it is a dark spot right on her freaking temple.
I've been there. And I'm sure it will happen on this model.
Oh man, yeah, I knew it was all over this one just because of the fine detail that I got to do on all this gold. It's gonna drive me bananas putting it right on top of all of this other stuff that's got to be close to done. You take pictures all the time and never look at them. I stopped taking pictures because I never look at them. They just fill my camera up. They're always neat to go back and find. I used to take them to bring and show you guys, and there was a time where I'd be like, hey, you need to check this picture out, and blah blah blah, and I'd post them on the web and all that. And show people, and I forget that I took them, and so I don't do it anymore. We talk about it on stream. That's what you get.
Don't worry. I can help us here. Or I take the photos and keep them.
We don't need no help. We got it all figured out.
Wow.
We know what we're doing.
Get me getting thrown under the bus now. Thought I was the resident bus thrower under of.
Not called throwing under the bus. I don't think that means what you think it means.
It does.
It means when you blame somebody for something that they didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
Scapegoating. Not what just happened.
It was Jabe's fault the whole time.
Incorrect.
I'll die on this hill.
Incorrect.
I'll die on this hill.
Incorrect. I would pick a different hill. I'd maybe let this one go.
What do you mean?
Gabe didn't reach into your computer.
He did.
He didn't.
He actually did, though.
He actually didn't.
I think he did.
He was sitting right next to you?
Yep.
Gabe? How big is the lie Baby J's telling right now? Someone tell GW to give salamanders their chapter tactics back.
Just wait, you're getting a book here in like a month.
I was gonna say, don't you need a freaking codex before you can grape?
Also, your codex is coming out like literally in a month or something like that.
Chris made an audible laugh when he saw the Baby J bus. This bus has no brakes, Chris. No brakes. That was just a quick 2-minute Photoshop. Show him the error of his ways. He's trying to throw Gabe under the bus. He's still doing it. Says he's dying on this hill.
It was Gabe's fault. I did nothing.
In a perfect world, this would be the story where Gabe actually did do it, and I'm sitting here sticking up for Gabe. And so Gabe, every time we get done talking about it, he just looks over and smiles at Baby J, knowing that he got away with one.
He does. He is. He did.
Not the way it works.
I mean,
he's not the bad guy here.
He is definitely.
I need you to take responsibility for your actions, Baby J. This is a life lesson.
I mean, I did it, but it wasn't my fault.
I did, but it wasn't my fault. He was telling me to do the things, and I did the things, and they were wrong.
No, he didn't tell me to do the thing. He gave me a Discord that didn't work, and I had to exit and rejoin it like 20 times. And one of those times...
You hit the wrong Discord.
Yeah.
So
it's Gabe's fault.
Chat.
No, I know how to do the Discord. They just had a weird setup for their Discord and didn't have a place for people who didn't already have permissions. So it literally like wouldn't let you load the Discord. And I had literally never seen it before because I've never been in a Discord where somebody doesn't have a landing page for people who don't have permissions.
It was just blank.
No, it would load up the Discord. And
is this the empty wallets, by the way?
No, this is a different Discord. This is like literally just like you load up the Discord and it says cannot verify, try to reload, and it just like looked like an error.
Still your fault.
Nope. I was wronged by Gabe, and I must get an apology from.
I must get an apology. Until Gabe apologizes, I refuse to go back to my office. I will not talk to Gabe. It's gonna get interesting around here, folks. These two offices right next to one another.
It definitely was very weird this morning when I went to my I went to like say hello to everybody in the Discord, and I was like, where'd the Discord go? This doesn't make any sense. It was here yesterday.
This was not the aha moment you were looking for. Holy tiny details.
Yeah, mine doesn't really have a ton of that.
Got 50 million scales. You're doomed.
That's fine.
There's a reason I didn't paint that model.
It'll be fine.
That was the other model I was going to paint. I was like, I want to do the sacrifice. And then I was like, but.
Except, no. How
Scales.
No.
It's a fantastic model.
It really is. I looked at it and was like, yep, this is the one.
Any of you that might have missed the announcement on the Discord, we still have not done the broader announcement, so you guys still have as early a cut at all of these as possible. But up on the site right now, we redid it. You can search by Journeyman and or Mineworks, and all of those are up on the Monument Hobbies store right now. Jump in there and get them. A lot of these models are limited edition, meaning exactly what it says. So kind of, whereas you don't recognize Monument Hobbies for FOMO type stuff, there is some real stuff going on. If you've had some of those models are not, like the Puppeteer and things like that, are not available on the Mineworks site. So if they're models you've been looking for,
get them while you can.
Yeah, now is legit the time.
They're hot.
When they're gone, a lot of them are gone. That I listed on the announcement on the Discord, the ones that you need to watch out for right now. Like the model I'm painting right now is not a limited one. Well, she is, but there's more of these available. Stuff like the Puppeteer, Samurai Girl. I think we have the last copies in the world of Puppeteer, Samurai Girl, Drizzed, which is called the Loner. And Night Bells, perhaps, which is the vampire up on the cathedral top. Like a vampire lord up on the cathedral top. Yeah, the skeleton bust is really, really cool. It's like a Ray Harryhausen, Jason and the Argonauts style bust. We'll be putting more models up there as we get them into stock, counted in, details figured out, but that's the bulk of them on the site right now. If you have a model that you have been dying in wait for Mineworks, contact support and ask. We don't make any promises, but we can tell you if we have other models on the way that you might want to hold off, or like place an order and tell us to hold for shipping until the rest come in. If you don't want to double pay for shipping, that kind of stuff, we'd be happy to help you out there. But we need to know ahead of time. There are other models on the way. Some that I am super stoked on, like all the new Elric Dark Sword stuff. And I gotta get, we do have some of like the Chef and some other cool ones that they've got that I have not put into stock yet. So we got some work to do. But I wanted to get the bulk of them up on the site over the weekend, so that's what you see there now. I want to go for a more antiqued bronzy gold on this. You notice I'm not using any greens for the first time in a long time on my golds. Yes, I'm feeling okay.
Are you feeling okay?
I feel fine.
Are you sure?
I'm fine.
You're making weird decisions.
It's hard. Change is hard. I'm sick of green gold right this minute.
That seems fair. Been painting quite a lot of it.
Yeah, Dante and the Death Knight took it out of me. Remember, did we do Horus that same way?
You did Horus that way, yeah. So here's an interesting kind of thing to show off. Is this is the color I just painted on my thumb is just the warm brown and the dark warm flesh mixed, and when I start adding all of this orange to it, see how much that changes that kind of like bronzy tan.
And that's orange transparent you used, right?
Yeah, it's just literally just adding a couple of dots of the orange transparent to that mix just to get a little bit more richness to the skin tone.
Love that color. Looking good on her skin.
Oh, the skin tone?
Yeah, look great.
Thank you.
Looking good. Just stop for a Wawa coffee. Can't wait until Harrisburg has one. Harrisburg doesn't have a Wawa?
What's a Wawa?
Gas station. Great sandwiches. It's the Northeast version of Piggly Wiggly.
I don't even know what that is. Obviously, it's a gas station.
Yeah, another gas station. That's crazy. I didn't realize it. I would have sworn that you had Wawa everywhere. It just became commonplace living in the ABE. Wawa or bust. What do you need? Go to Wawa. Sandwiches.
Amazing how much better gas stations are out here than they are in Washington.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's not even close. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you know the Chevron on the corner that we have here on 3rd and Indian School?
3rd and Indian School. Oh, right up here. Yeah.
It's right up here. You know how, like, it's a very boring gas station?
Yeah.
That's all of the gas stations that we have.
Oh, yeah, it's just a gas station.
Yeah.
Got visitors? Okay, cool. I got a split.
Whoa.
Baby J's gonna shut it down on you.
Visitors.
That's where I got.
Oh, darn. It is basically time to shut down anyways.
That's where I got. I have a 2 o'clock meeting, gang. So I am out of here. I will leave it up to the capable hands of the bus tosser to shut you down, send you on your way. Enjoy. I have enjoyed talking with you today. Mostly about our fun while painting. Haha, see, you thought I was going to...
Get out of here.
I'm out of here. See you later, guys.
Go have your stupid meeting.
Not that stupid.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for hanging out today. I have a minute, so I'm going to keep painting for a minute. So the heck with this guy. I'm going to paint for a minute. You know what? I might even go over a minute just to spite the man. I also left the door open. We're going to close the door. So nobody knows what happens in here. It's all between us, Chad. I wish you guys streamed like 8 hours a day. I'm gonna be honest, Gosu, it would be so hard to do every day. I mean, just we have so much stuff that needs to be done. Like, turns out we got a whole company to get run. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I have a job outside of the stream. That is true. So, thank you guys so much. I'm gonna put up some links in the links in chat for everybody. We're gonna find somebody to raid, so hang around so I can unload you guys in some unsuspecting streamers chat. If you want to check out any of the stuff that we were using to paint miniatures today, go ahead and check out the store, which I just linked there. It's got all the hobby products that we're using, all the paints and everything. All the brushes, such that they are. Inventory wise, I'm going to turn this off. These models are also, I believe, both available on the website right now. The Sacrifice should be available. If not, I'll make sure it gets on there soon. Make sure you guys check out the Discord too. Fantastic place where we can all hang out and chat, talk painting, all the interesting stuff that goes along with. You can take part in our Discord challenges every month. This month we're having a monster challenge, so you can paint a monster in whatever way you like. Just make sure it's all creepy, crawly, gribbly, blah 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 monster stuff. And we take a look at all those at the end of the month, and we pick winners. And it's not necessarily who did the best paint job, but who had the most fun and who made the most interesting model. Make sure you guys check out our FLGSs as well. The store finder to find a local store near you where you can pick up our paints if you don't want to purchase them online. And we are, that's it, I think. Yeah, we're gonna sign that off. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much. Truly enjoyed the stream with you guys today. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Oh yeah, don't forget, we stream 5 days a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Like today, we stream from 12 to 2. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we stream from 2 to 5. All times are Pacific. And we will see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to go find somebody for us to raid. And we're going to have some fun. See ya!